All right, good early morning here on Wednesday, November the 20th. We've only got 8 days till Thanksgiving next week, peoples. A lot of good football to be played. All right, so let me jump in here. You can see in yellow because sometimes people complain, oh, just give me the results, right? Well, that's fine, but I tell you, 80% of the people really like more data. So if you want to just take a minute with me being relatively quiet, you can look at these numbers right here in front of you. MSTY just killing it. Again, I'm not even in MSTX at the moment because it didn't quite get low enough. I really should have bought it again at around 80. It's just been a killer. And now it's so high that we're getting close to, 100 on BTC, but MicroStrategy just killing it. Look at that price. This is the closing price, 42.3. I mean, I remember when it went down below 20 and said, what a bargain that was in MSTY, right? And Misty. I've often said, I'm not a big fan much anymore of just the dividend yielders because I'd rather, when these things run, play the 2x guys. But I will say, if you're going to be in a fund, anything related to, not YBit, absolutely not YBit, but if you want to own BITO or you want to own a 2X or MSTX for 2X on that, you want to own MSTY, Coney, with Bitcoin running, even YIELDMAX can't screw that up. Um, so let's jump in here. $4.42. Just fabulous. I remember the very first payment that they paid. I don't know if it was March or April. And I got that payment. That was a $4 payment. And they had a $2 payment, a $3 payment. Look at this now. In October, they paid $4.19. But this is a more legit because the price is so much higher, right? This was on a $31 price. This is on a 42. So your yield was astronomical here, but this is still a heck of a yield. 135%. I mean, this has got to, I should pull out my other data. This has got to put MSTY at its return of its $20, right? I remember owning this thing for 3 or 4 months, and I said, I'm up over 100% on MSTY, and I've been getting 100% yield for 3 or 4 months. Now, that's not 100% over the year, but I think this thing is probably with 6, 7, 8 payments is already past the $20 mark. I can think of $3, $4 payments. There's $12. A $3 payment would make 15. There's been multiple $2 payments. So yeah, it's over $20. So it's returned all of its money in the 7 or 8 months, which is the fastest, right? Coney got there, I think, in 11. NVIDIA got there around 14, 15 months. But MSTY just been the killer, just done fabulous. So YQQ, let's jump into that. 32 cents. It's still a decent yield, 23.38. Now, I don't know if this came out at the $50 level. I doubt it. This was probably still at the $18 level. Otherwise, you're just getting killed on that yield. Obviously, AMZY, what a fabulous payment for AMZY, $1.17, solid 75 yielder. I remember reporting the 60, 65, and people were disappointed, right? Until we saw it drop into the 40%. So to see it back up at $1.17, good job, YIELDMAX. And look at that, it's back. So AMZY has been paying now for 16 months, 17 months. The same with APLY. So, I mean, APLY is not, those are the weakest. APLY and Microsoft for the most part. I mean, not the weakest of all the stocks, probably DISO. I mean, look at Disney here, 70 cents. I don't ever recall, even 51 is pretty fabulous. Now it's behind, I always look over here and AIYY, 85. I mean, AI must be moving, with this. Obviously, NVIDIA and Palantir and some of those kind of guys are. But, this is pretty amazing what we've got going. 85 cents. I mean, I've been worried about this thing being a reverse split, right? Oh, by the way, so in the far right column, I do this each payment, each monthly payment, except these guys are on the weeklies, as all of you know by now, right? But the groups are only paid monthly. So look at this. It was up $11.19. I mean, they could have probably paid $6, but maybe they didn't manage the fund as well as they could have. But if, when you get a really good yield and you were up $11, I'd say kudos on that. That's fabulous. It got up to 45 in the first 4 or 5 months. I remember owning it where my average was under 21 and it was at 45. But I kind of knew, I said, this isn't going to stay here. When it got to the 30, I go, okay, well, when it got down below 19 that other time, that was amazing. I mean, Coney had done it several times, got to 16, 15. I don't even know what, last I saw Coney was around 19 or something, 20. So I'm sure Coney's pretty high given what Coinbase and MSTR is doing. All right, so up 44 for AMZY, getting it back over the par mark, right, the $20. AIYY. Yeah, I didn't think it's 17. That's APLY, right? So got a little bit of NAV reduction. But, you're getting 24. Your yield isn't just monstrous. What I'm going to do on these guys for you is go back and bring all my tracking in, right? Where I have it in other sheets and all that. And then I'll be able to roll up and do more for you guys when I'm reporting on YIELDMAX. So DISO, nice 50%er. There isn't anything horrible in here. I mean, these two at 23 and 24 are low for YIELDMAX, but I mean everything else is fabulous. Look at this guy though. I will say, okay, SMCI with the accounting and some of that kind of stuff. I mean, they had a $5.35 payment. They're back to 220. But oh my gosh, guys, look at this. 2701. Let me look at the chart. Am I missing something there? I know how bad it had been doing uh, because of the accounting fraud, but it's bounced recently. Did they do a split, guys? No, it doesn't look like it according to this. Let me see. SMCI split. Yep, they sure did. A 10 for 1, meaning the number of shares increased. Okay. All right, so that totally is what happened. So I take it back. This isn't really relevant, right? When you have that. So apologize for that, peoples. But I'm not sure why the number... It still may be down because this would have been a 1022 price, right? So the accounting fraud then is fairly real. Oh, that doesn't... I don't understand. This is saying October 1. All right, put something in the comments, guys. I haven't really been, once I saw the accounting, fraud issue, I really haven't followed it or play it. There's several times I wrote some covered calls and played SMCI, the underlying, but I'm not sure why the stock chart should be going down like that. Um, and I don't really see the October 1 10 for 1. Maybe it's all shown here. I know it was $1,200 at one point, so this chart is reflecting it. So even given this, guys, this thing has really been beat up. It got down to around $16 3 days ago, and it's 16, 17, and it's back at 28. I think this should be 28, 27 here. I had 28.66, so I don't think it's going to be significantly a difference one way or the other. Okay, so that drop is real in the month, right? Given the stock split. Um, so it's just continued to get beat up. So you want to get paid to try and recover. I mean, if you went out and bought this thing at $55 and it's at 28, you've taken, that's a 49% decline. All right, guys. So YMAX and YMAG, those are almost predictable because we know in the previous group which ones, especially in YMAG, right? Because it's only the Mag 7 guys that play in there. But that's another great, great yield on YMAX. I'm impressed, which is really a reflection of all of the YIELDMAX. So kudos, YIELDMAX, and having YMAX back with that. And 1822 is okay. It's not as high there. So you're talking, you know, a 10% NAV reduction. So what? If I can get a 50% yield, right? 40 or 50% yield, I'll take a 10% NAV hit any day, right? Because that's, you add those together. I get a 45% yield for the whole year annualized, and I get a 10% NAV loss. That's a 45 minus 10. That's a 35% yield. With that kind of money, I'm going to double my investment money if I had it all in YMAX over a period of years. Now, it's never going to, do 35% every year, maybe 50% with no NAV loss. And then the next year it may pay 20% with a 5% NAV loss. It's not going to average above 40. It used to. And now lately it's doing really well, but don't translate that into just, otherwise every penny in the world would be in this. I mean, literally anybody no hedge fund can have these kind of returns year after year after year after year. 10, 12, 15 are just phenomenal rates of return over a 10 or 20-year threshold. Okay, guys, that's what I got for you. So you can see everything here. Again, the 6 cents, there wasn't much of a YMAG payer. There wasn't much of a Mag 7 contribution. This should help with Amazon. Apple's not paying a lot, but Amazon's paying pretty well. So that should help for Group A. Next week. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Again, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation, not a financial advisor. This is for fun and entertainment. Have a great one. Catch you later. Bye for now.